I mean, we've all been doing this a long time. As it concerns, like, the big conferences, and, like, the ACC sucks, obviously, and it used to be the best conference in college basketball. I mean, have a team minus 325 to win the conference seems unfathomable, and then you look at Duke and the rest of the teams, and you know what? Maybe it's short. So Duke, minus 325. Louisville and Clemson, the second and third. Those are the three teams that'll make the tournament out of the ACC. Louisville about plus 450. Clemson plus 550. Then draw a line. Carolina, 22-1. So, Brad, I'm going to hit you with the two-parter here in the next 90 seconds. Number one, would you consider betting a team outside of the big three in the ACC? And the second question, would you consider betting any team not named Duke to win the Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament?
Answer number one, no. I'm not going to consider everybody on the list. Number two, yes. Give me the Clemson Tigers at plus 550. They already beat Duke.
Beat Duke this year, yeah.
Yeah, inside Little John. It was a true home game, but you look at Torvik. Over the last 30 days, Duke is number one, bar none, in the Barthag rating, but Clemson's not that far off. They're number 6 in the nation in overall efficiency during that span. They can shoot the three adequately, 35.7% over last month. They're defending at a high rate, number 3 in adjusted defensive efficiency over last month. So they got the size, they got the chef there in the interior, they got the exterior play to match. They can mitigate, they can maybe hang with Duke in a neutral court environment. So if you're looking for a value play, better than 5-1 odds right now at BetMGM, take my money. Take it, Lions Roar. Give me the Tigers of Clemson to knock off Duke, and no way in hell am I going to bet Duke at minus 325.
Louisville and Clemson are at the bottom of the bracket right now in the ACC. Duke, Carolina, and Wake are at the top. And we think, right, if Carolina were to play, they would play Wake in the quarterfinals, right? Carolina would probably win that game, right? And that Carolina has shorter odds than Wake Forest does, obviously, to win the ACC tournament. So we're probably looking at Duke, Carolina, and then Louisville, Clemson in the semis, which is actually pretty fun. So Brad telling you Clemson would be his pick. The way that I'm going to play this is just to parlay Duke with a bunch of long shots that I like. This is, we've all been doing this for a long time. We love sports. I mean, there have been some great conference tournaments. I'm biased as a New Yorker towards the Big East. I mean, some of the Big East tournaments in the late 90s, early 2000s, like those UConn teams, the Georgetown team, like the team with Iverson. I mean, Syracuse, outrageous. This SEC tournament, the line that I keep using is Sheamus's line from WWE, banger after banger. This tournament's going to be awesome, baby. So here are the prices at BetMGM. Auburn plus 160, loser of a couple in a row heading into the conference tournament play. I know you still think they should be the number 1 overall seed. We can get into that also. Florida plus 250, Bama plus 450, Tennessee at 6-1. Kentucky, how good is the SEC? Kentucky's 22-1. A&M is 25. We had Dallin Cuff from ESPN on the show last week. He said Mizzou was his Final Four sleeper. They're 60-1. There are other relevant teams, but I just felt like we should probably cut it off at some point in lieu of reading all of them. So, Brad, give me your analysis here of the SEC tournament. We got a long shot, game by game. Who do you like winning it? Unpack some of it for us here, and let's bandy it about.
Yeah, it's absolutely a murderer's row. There's no question about it. My pick is Florida. I'm going to take a plus at 250. I got a ticket as well. Florida win the national title. I think this is just a warm-up act to how they're going to perform in the NCAA tournament this season. They're bar none, in my opinion, the best team in the country right now. The lowest number 1 seed. And, if they obviously win this tournament, they're going to be fixed on that spot. They look at the last 8 games where they're 7-1. They're a team that's top 30 in adjusted offensive and defensive efficiency. They have no weaknesses at all anywhere across the board in terms of scouting report, whether with the eye test or looking at the stats underneath the surface as well. Alex Condon has just flourished down there in the post. They have strong guard play there, and Martin and Clayton, dynamic duo there, Thomas Hall and Will Richard get the dirty work done at the 4 and the 3 spot. Again, they just don't have any weaknesses. And you look at the draw in this tournament, they're the number 2 seed, so they got the double bye. More than likely would face Missouri in the semifinals, and then they would play the winner. Presumably everything works out the way it should between Alabama and Kentucky. And it might be first to 150 wins that stupid game. There's going to be no defense played. It's going to be zip, 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 zip. but I think Florida would take care of business, get on to the title game. Maybe they got a rematch with Auburn. Maybe they got a rematch with Tennessee, but it doesn't matter. I think Florida's a team to beat at plus 250. I will gladly invest in that ticket there at BetMGM.
Wow, so Florida, Brad's pick to win the SEC tournament. I want to get your thought, and there's like a lot to get into there where it's like not Auburn, so I want to get your thought on Auburn here, but let's talk about the bottom of this bracket. Here, you bet on this Monday. During the break, we were all talking about like how excited we are like to bet the SEC tournament, to even just watch the SEC tournament. And Tyler Morales, our technical director on the show, who lost, by the way, who did not win any of his bets on the Arnold Palmer this weekend in golf. Oh. Whereas I had Russell Henley at 45-1 to win the Arnold Palmer. So just want to say to everyone out there in our audience who thinks Tyler Morales is God's gift to golf betting, it's actually me. But don't worry. Tyler and I will be in the lab collabing on at least one outright coming up for the players this weekend. Anyway, I think the bottom of the bracket here in the SEC, and Mike Brown has it up on the screen. It's a great job here. So Kentucky is the 6 and Bama's the 3. So like Brad said, if everything holds to like all the favorites hold serve, we will see Kentucky and Bama in the semifinal. I look at both of these teams, and I know Brad agrees. Kentucky and Bama can beat any team in the country on any given night and also lose to a lot of teams on any given night because they all offense, no defense teams. Brad, would you ever consider taking a shot, because I have, on either Georgia or Oklahoma? They will play in the 11-14 matchup. Winner of that game plays Kentucky. Winner of that game plays Bama. And the winner of that game advances to the semifinal.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do a little sprinkle on any of these double-digit seeds, I think Georgia's one that warrants an investment. They're playing great basketball here down the stretch under Mike White. They got a dude named Blue Kane. For that reason alone, a spectacular name. It's worth the investment. You look at Georgia.
Wasn't that Walter White's drug in Breaking Bad, Blue Cane?
It could be. And honestly, maybe inject it into your veins and take the ride there with the Georgia Bulldogs. They're number 5. They're number
You know what?
5.
I actually said to one of my friends I like Georgia, and they were basically like, "Are you on meth?" So I guess this really checks out. Please continue with Georgia and Oklahoma.
Well, look, if you look at the advanced data, right, and I love Bartora because you can sort a lot of this data. Over the last 30 days, they're number 12 in the country in total efficiency. That's outstanding, but Auburn's ahead of him in that category. Florida's ahead of him in that category. Alabama is ahead of him in that category, and so is Kentucky. So they got a puncher's chance, but the issue with them is they got to play in that first round of the SEC tournament. So they got to win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games in 5 days for you to cash a very handsome winning ticket. They're going to be exhausted. They're going to have to play out of their damn minds. They are playing excellent basketball right now. But they're barely inside the top 150 EFG offense, EFG defense the last 30 days. So even though the eye test is saying, okay, they're passing with flying colors, the numbers tell a little bit of a different story. So I think they'll beat Oklahoma. They may give Kentucky a run, but at most they're going to win a couple of games, and that's it.
Houston is even money to win the Big 12 tournament. Texas Tech plus 350. Iowa State, kind of like a topsy-turvy season for Iowa State, is at 7-1. Arizona at 8. Brad's belle of the ball, a lot of alliteration there. BYU at 10. The aforementioned Kansas Jayhawks at 12. And I do think Scott Drew and Baylor are a little interesting with the way they closed the year. Baylor at 40-1, and obviously has won a national championship in the past 5 years. I'm not saying Baylor's going to win, just saying Baylor is 40-1. Brad, how do you handicap the Big 12? Mike Brown's got it up on the screen right now, and for people that are not watching, the top half of the bracket has Houston and BYU as the top 2 seeds, and the bottom half has Texas Tech and Arizona.
Yeah, tough draw for my Cougars to BYU, but I think Cosmo and friends got more than a puncher's chance. I know they got absolutely slaughtered by Houston, but that was way back in early January. Very different team. They have ripped off 7 straight wins, and they're playing exceptional basketball. How good? Well, you look over the last 30 days, they are number 2. Yeah, that's right, numero dos in the nation in Bart Torvik's efficiency data. During that span where they're number 10 at EFG offense, playing a little bit better defense at number 86. I mean, they're shooting 61.8% from inside the arc and 37.4% outside of it. Richie Saunders is showing like Jimmer Fredette tendencies right now. I got a bunch of guys just sopping wet offensively. They're really getting after on the glass as well, generating a second chance on 32.4% of their possessions. Look, it's going to be a tough road to hoe. Likely going to face Houston in the semifinals, and a complete contrast in styles. It's the definition of it. BYU wants to run. Houston's one of the slowest teams in the country. They pop, 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 and just punch in the mouth in the half court. And I describe the Cougars as a zombie horde because they just keep coming at you. They're relentless. In their rebounding, their defense, whether you're trying to fly in transition or leave it in that half-court setting. But 10-1 odds for BYU, I think it's worth a little sprinkle. Honestly, my top pick at the juice, though, is Guns Up and the Red Raiders of Texas Tech at plus 350. Okay. Grant McCausland's done a tremendous job with his team. They already beat Houston earlier this season. That was an overtime, and that was on the road.
And we're shorthanded in both those games, right? And almost beat them the second time.
Yeah, correct. And look, they've been kind of unhealthy here down the stretch, but Chance McMillan's back, and Williams is also back. But I like this team overall. They can really gun from outside. Right around 50% of their shots have come beyond the arc over the last month, where they are number 9 in Torvik in the overall efficiency. Play excellent defense, get after it offensively. They can play variable styles as well, so they can hang in that half-court setting or try to get out and run to advance beyond Houston trying to set their defense in the half court. So plus 350, I will roll with the Yosemite Sams there of Texas Tech as my winning pick in the Big 12. I can't take Houston, can't justify it at just even money.
Brad, let's hit the Big 10 conference tournament.
Yeah.
And this is your milieu, as the French would say, because your favorite team inhabits this conference, the Fighting Illini of Illinois. Michigan State is the favorite. What a season by Sparty! Like, one of the best Michigan State teams we've seen, like this whole run with Tom Izzo. They're awesome. Michigan State plus 250, blowing out Michigan yesterday. Where can Michigan? We saw this when they beat Ohio State. Can Michigan like stay out of the post game stuff, or maybe just keep doing it? Dusty May kind of came across like a clown. Whatever. Michigan State plus 250. Maryland, the second choice at 4. Wisconsin plus 625. Purdue plus 650. Illinois at 7, and Illinois beat Purdue pretty handily on Friday night. UCLA plus 750. Michigan 13. Oregon 22. Mike Woodson and Indiana at 50. Brad Evans, how do you handicap the Big Ten tournament?
Oh, man, it's a really interesting field, to say the least. Like, I love the chalk here, and the fact that Michigan State's only plus 250 is worth an investment in my mind. I think this is, it's a traditional rite of spring, right? It's like drinking green beer on St. Patrick's Day. Hear the birds chirp, the flowers blooming, and the Spartans playing peak basketball. It's the month of March. It happens every spring under Tom Izzo. I was talking to Jeff Goodman from the Field of 68, and Jeff Goodman said about 10 days ago, he goes, I think this is single-handedly the best season of coaching ever from Tom Izzo. Is it even better than the year in 2000 under Mateen Cleaves and Jason Richardson and that team that won the national title? He goes, yes. This was supposed to be a middling Big Ten participant, and they're playing dominant basketball right now. Evidenced by their number 10 ranking in Torvik over the last 30 days. They're a team that still can't shoot the rock consistently, though Jason Richardson's kid, has had a nice little spark offensively, especially from outside for this club, but they are just popping in the face defensively. They're number 35 EFG defense in their last 8 games, are incredible on the glass as well. Whether you're looking at second chance opportunities, committing to a one and done to the opposition as well. I think the Spartans are the team to beat. I got them. I already invested a ticket at plus 250. And I'm saying this as objectively as humanly possible as I went to the ILL. I only live 15 minutes away from campus here in the land of corn, soybeans, and swine. But I think Illinois at 7-1 is worth an investment as well. They have turned things around. This team has finally gotten healthy. They were bitten by the flu bug. Mononucleosis took down Tomislav Ivicic for a time. They had some injury setbacks as well, but they got 2 NBA first-round picks on this team, and Kasparas Yakachonis, and also in Will Riley. And they're playing a spectacular basketball here last 3 games. They blew out Michigan, beat them by 20 on the road. They finished off Purdue 13-1 over the last about minute and a half in that game. To put an exclamation point on the season inside State Farm Center. They're playing better defensively, and they're starting to hit their threes because they're driving to the cup. They get downhill with their length, their athleticism. The kickout game is there. They've been splishing, they've been splashing. They're playing A-plus basketball here over the last about week and a half. That carries over the postseason. 7-1 in the bottom half of the bracket. I love Maryland, love the Crab Five, but if Illinois can win that quarterfinal matchup, whether against Iowa, Ohio State, march on, face Maryland, knock off the Terps, they're going to beat Michigan if Michigan does win their next game, and Illinois could wind up in the final. Underwood has had a tremendous historical run as a head coach at Illinois in Big Ten tournament play. So, again, Michigan State is my pick at plus 250, but if you're looking for value, ILL, you Jim Jacks at 701.
But we'll start here, this segment, with the Big East, where St. John's, literally like 10 minutes from where I grew up, St. John's is your favorite at plus 155, ending the regular season in dramatic fashion with a buzzer beater and overtime to knock off Marquette on the road. St. John's plus 155 to win the Big East. Creighton is the 2 seed, but Brad, maybe you like Creighton. I haven't read or seen a lot of people liking Creighton in this tournament. UConn, the 3. Creighton's plus 370. UConn is at 4. Marquette is the 5 seed at plus 550. X go and give it to you. Xavier at plus 850. Villanova's 15-1. I don't know if anyone's going to like any of these teams once we get past the top 5. So, Brad, what about the Big East tournament? Bets, handicaps, etc.
Yeah, it feels like the St. John's Invitational. It really does. I mean, Rick Pitino is the greatest basketball mastermind alive. Period in his story. Maybe he's going to break out the white suit. I mean, the guy is just brilliant in all his schematics and his tactics that he employs. And this team is like the Houston Cougars, but a faster version of Houston. Houston's outside the top 350 in adjusted tempo. St. John's on the season inside the top 100 in that category, but they're a team that can definitely live in the half court. They generate a ton of second chance opportunities, really crash the glass, seal off the defensive glass as well. And they have that fantastic inside-outside play. I look at Ejiofor, obviously with the game winner he had over the weekend, a guy that can really disrupt at the rim and really beat you on the other side as well. R.J. Lewis has played tremendous basketball. Kadari Richmond messed around and got a triple-double over the weekend. I like this team a ton, so much so that I bet on about 2.5 weeks ago to make the Final Four. Good old San Antonio, where they know what salsa tastes like. I think, that team
true?
could represent. It's an old Pace Picante commercial. I don't know if you remember that from the 1980s. That's how old I am. Anyway.
I've got some old references, like when Kamani Vidal was playing for the Chargers, like when he actually played in a couple games. I did like a Vidal Sassoon bit, and that was like late 80s, early 90s. Yeah, but this one, I think that one even you're a couple years older than me. I did at Trader Joe's this morning. I bought some salsa from Trader Joe's, and when I bought it, I was thinking to myself, there's no way this salsa is going to be good. But my wife wanted it, so it was like $6. So there you go. Thanks, Trump. Great.
I will say this, anything at Trader Joe's is A-okay with me, and I miss it terribly living here in Central Illinois. There's no TJ's remotely close to me. But anyway, let me digress real quick here on St. John's. I think they're a team to beat because they're the most balanced team, really, that's in this Big East field, in my opinion. Now, they're only 233 in EFG offense, but they're playing better in that half-court setting in that capacity. They're going to win games by the hair of their chinny chin-chin. There's no doubt about it, but they still find ways to win. Winning those 50-50 balls in those situations, getting the line and knocking some shots down. Rick Pitino just pushes the right buttons. So a plus 155, I am in. If you're looking for a value play, I think it is Creighton at plus 450. I saw earlier today at BetMGM, I think you said it's moved, correct? It's like 5-1?
Plus 370. Plus 370 for Creighton right now.
Well, here's the thing about Creighton. They have maybe the best outside combinations, not only in this league, but possibly in the country. Ryan Kalkbrenner is a long drink at 7'1". He's shooting over 71% inside the arc this season. He's also a supreme shot blocker. Stephen Ashworth, though, is the key to this team at point guard. If he is, chipping in 20 25 in a game, which he is typical of doing, that team is extraordinarily hard to beat if they get a third scorer to step up and score you between 12 to 15 points. They're tremendously balanced in their own right inside the top 80 the last month. EFG offense, EFG defense, and they're in the bottom half of the bracket. So they got UConn in the way. A lot of people are going to invest in them because of Hurley, because it's UConn. But Creighton's a better team, pound for pound in my estimation, and will give St. John's a heck of a lot better game if it boils down to that in the championship there inside the Garden.
The floor is yours, my friend, on the Mountain West tournament, anywhere you want to take it.
All right, you're running back. Ball's in your hands. You see a hole, and what do? You ram it! Give me Colorado State. Again, they're in Quaker right now.
I thought this was going to be Astringenti, like an Astringenti Boise State thing. That's where I thought you were going. All right.
No. See, a little bit of a twist there. I'm going to go with CSU, man. You're right. They got a guy named Nick Clifford who has been a walking, talking bucket, man. He's one of the most efficient players in the country. I can go out there, mess around, and drop 30 on that ass very easily. Colorado State, again, using Torvik as a measurement the last month. They're number 19 in the country in overall efficiency. Next up, out of the Mountain West is Utah State, number 37, but they're not playing any kind of defense whatsoever. CSU defense is a weakness, or 155 EFGD in their last 30 days, but they are numero uno in the nation in EFG offense because of Nick Clifford and some of the ancillary parts of this team. They're shooting 59.4% from inside the arc and 46.4%. Let me repeat that. 46.4% absurdly from beyond it. So I'm going to ride this team. They're very much on the bubble. They're a member of my first four out right now. They are highly motivated to get in the big dance. I love Nico Medved. He's an excellent coach. One of the best offensive architects that's out there. I think Colorado State in Sin City, clack and roll the dice on them at greater than 4-1 odds to do so at BetMGM. Would highly avoid New Mexico, the heavy favorite there at plus 240. Utah State, again, they don't play any defense. San Diego State is interesting because they do play defense. Boise State's another team that's motivated with NCAA tournament hopes. They're on the outside looking in right now. Also, remember, alongside Colorado State as the member of the first four out. But Deacon Hearts get a lot of second chances. They have length. They have some athleticism and do a decent job of shooting the three. At least they were earlier this season. Last month, they're only shooting 29.1% from there, not really defending the arc that well. But if they can put it together, they're going to challenge as well. But Colorado State, to me, in the Mountain West tourney, the team to beat.